Is anyone out there? We're survivors held up in a warehouse. The zombies have overrun the city. Supplies are running short. Is anyone out there? Please, we need help. We're almost out of food. The zombies have been beating on the doors day and night for weeks now. I'm not sure how long we can keep them out. Hello? We need help.
I'm so pale, and I'm gonna take you traveling the world. But I can love you, yeah, I'm gonna love you. I'll give you the whole of what I've got. The fancy finds, baby, I have not. Just gonna love you, yeah, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you, baby. Cross my heart and hope to die. Golden trinkets, mobile phone, expensive shoes, you can get your own. Just gonna love you, yeah, I'm gonna love you. Just gonna love you, yeah, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you, babe. Cross my heart and hope to die.
You can call me stupid. Yes, you can call me cheap. You can say I'm lazy. You can say I'm weak. You think that using her would get to me. And if you're right, then you're in trouble, D. 'Cause I won't break, no, I know I won't wait. You're in trouble, D. But when it comes to her, you better keep it sealed. Don't you dare say a single word, or I will strike you where it feels. You think that using her would get to me, and if you're right, then you're in trouble, D. 'Cause I won't break, no, I know I won't wait. You're in trouble, D.
This is the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. Citizens are advised to take the following steps. Stay alert to news media events or local emergency alert notifications. Avoid contact with the infected. If evacuation isn't possible, move indoors and initiate in-place sheltering. Use a gas mask, or if none are available, cover your mouth and nose with a clean cloth that has been soaked with a solution of 1 cup water and 1 tablespoon of baking soda. Also, cover bare skin and make sure that cuts and abrasions are covered. If exposed, remove clothes and seal in a plastic bag. Immediately wash off using copious amounts of warm, soapy water or a diluted 10-to-1 bleach solution. Since biological agents are being used to combat the outbreak, be sure to shut the windows and air intake vents to your shelter. If possible, stay upwind from the source of biological agents. Seek medical attention as quickly as possible after coming into contact with the infected or a biological agent. If evacuated, do not return home until local authorities say it is safe. Upon arriving home, open up all the windows and doors to provide natural ventilation. Do not attempt to try mechanical ventilation, such as electric fans, as an explosive threat may be present. Find out from local authorities how to clean up your land and property. Discard food and water supplies that were impacted by the hazardous material contamination. This is the emergency broadcast system. While there is still no word on the cure for the virus, government officials report the virus is not airborne, but can be transferred through contact with blood and other bodily fluids. The virus seems to be making people uncontrollably violent, and also somehow seems to be reanimating the dead. When asked, a White House spokesman declined to comment on whether or not this was a terrorist attack. Due to the violent nature of the ones infected, the virus is spreading rapidly. Government officials are reporting that there is no known cure for the virus, and is urging citizens to stay in their homes and avoid contact. Citizens are also urged to lock and barricade all doors, windows, and any other point of entry. Riots nationwide are prompting local governments to declare martial law. The president is asking that citizens find safety and remain calm. Authorities are working on a plan to contain the outbreak.
And now, a word from our sponsors. Zombie Network News is powered by FlyingPhoenixPCs.com, Quality Reborn. Go to FlyingPhoenixPCs.com to get your quality custom PC using coupon code ZNNUB at checkout for some amazing savings. They even have pre-built PCs with prices starting at just $700. Support Zombie Network News when buying your new PC from FlyingPhoenixPCs.com by using the coupon code ZNNUB.
Good morning, Zombie Network News. Thanks, guys, for jumping in. Welcome to our Friday edition. Man, I almost forgot what day it was again already. Welcome to our Friday edition of Zombie Network News. How you guys doing this morning? We are just going to do a little bit of covering some stuff, probably play a little bit of stuff. Yeah, it's just going to be one of those days. Maybe, hopefully, we get lucky. Zomboss drops his update during the show. We can get that taken care of and covered and looked at. Frogger, huh? I wonder who Frogger is. Frogger's somebody new. 16 followers. Alright. Thank you, Frogger. Thank you, Frogger. I used to love that game. It was one of my favorite games as a kid. I would spend quarter after quarter after quarter on that game. Which was funny because quarters were expensive. Like 25 cents was a lot back then. I mean, that was you could buy, when I was a kid, you could buy a soda for 50 cents. So it was half the cost of a soda to play a video game every single time you wanted to play it. Arcades made millionaires back in the day. No doubt. I don't know where Slayer is. I'm assuming he'll be here momentarily. He did confirm with me last night when he went to bed early that he was going to be here. So, sorry yesterday, guys. I missed. As you can see, we moved back into the office. I did get my desk. Now I got my desk. I got my chair. I just need to epoxy this table here beside me and make it nice and pretty. And we'll be all set up in this damn thing finally. And then get one more monitor, or probably going to get a 43-inch TV. Put it on this table beside me. And call it a day. And eventually get matching monitors, but that'll be down the road. That will be down the road. Discord's on fire right now? Oh, well, here we go. Here we go. Oh, I mean, it's the morning. It almost always is, right? I mean, I was reading a little bit this morning. It didn't seem too bad. Oh, are you talking about the paying? Oh, wow. Okay, let me fix that. Glad I looked over there. Like Cloud, are you talking about the conversation about paying a little bit of fees to Blue Mint for them doing what they do when you rent your packs? And so, if I understand correctly, to use the Blue Mint renting feature, the owner will be charged a percentage of the gold Z-Bucks that they earn by renting the NFT to a scholar. If this is correct, this is just another fairly major change that has never been formally communicated and has just surfaced under the radar in casual chat. When I asked you directly back in November how the renting system was progressing, you replied, "It's in a good spot." So either you've been discussing this with Blue Mint since November, knew there to be payment of Blue Mint required, or the rental system was never in a good spot. It's going to be a three-way split: scholar, owner, Blue Mint fee. Made a decision to subcontract this activity out to push out undead blocks faster. So rental was never in a good spot. It was, but the thing's over the finish line. It takes more effort. We might be managing the portal so we can focus on what we do best. More weapons, more maps, mobile gaming, more gameplay enhancement. What's the percentage for Blue Mint? Still discussing. It's going to be small. Less than 1%, not that small. I don't know, again, I don't get upset about this. I mean, even as an owner, I just don't. If things have to happen the way that they have to happen, it is what it is. It's the end result's the only thing that's going to matter. So. That's I mean again like my entire life is it is what it is, right? If I can't control what's going on, then I can't control what's going on, and I have no control over how Grant and them work all that stuff, right? The only control that I have is over what I do have and my play time and what games that I want to play, and I still want to play this game. It's ultimately in the long run for me, it's not about making $1 million off of the game anyway. I mean, granted, I got into it as play to earn, right? Just like everybody else, I came through it to be play to earn. But I also have understand by watching every other play to earn game out there that there's no way to make a play to earn game that you're going to make $15, $20, $30 a day off of and have it be sustainable. None of them have sustained. It's not possible to do. The only way that would be possible is say this game gets to 50 million players and then 3,000 owners, or even 6,000 if at that point we do sell of them or put them all out, then 6,000 owners get that cut of 50 million players revenue. And then yes, then maybe you're making 10 or 15 or $20 a day on one. But no, I don't think that. I'm not upset about it. Gotta be lower. Outsource menial tasks. Makes more maps and gameplay. Generate huge revenue for mobile. So that can't. Right. Kind of what I was just kind of saying. Again, my opinion. I mean, I do understand it, right? It is sudden. It wasn't explained or expected, but this morning seems chill compared to the other mornings, but still juicy. Yeah, I know about that one. Morning Killers, morning KG, welcome back. Even though I spoke to you last night. I feel where they're coming from. Sometimes feels like we're pulling teeth to get any info, and then when we find out, they release low key. Right. Well, I mean, but we do find it out. I mean, a lot of people don't. A lot of games we don't need to. Ultimately, I commented on this the other day. A big problem with this is actually too much transparency. If we want to be 100% honest about it, it's a lot of it is because they're actually giving us too much information, and then people are latching on to the information that they give us. Um, it's, most companies, you don't find anything out until you have the game, right? Um, unless you are one of the true, like, we're not even really in beta testing anymore. We have several thousand people that can just play whenever they want. Yeah, in a lot of ways, that's exactly how it should be, Crypto Dragon. It eliminates the hassle. Just give the hype and none of the actual transparency info that people are complaining about calling transparency. It's really not transparency that they're getting. They're just getting too much information about what's going on in the background, and then when things happen that had to change, there's unhappiness about it. Yeah, basically what KG just said. He's saying people push to find out information before it's ready to be officially released, and then we tell them how things are coming along, and then it's not set in stone, and things change before it's officially announced. So basically the same thing that I was saying, just different words. And without saying that we just shouldn't really be telling anybody anything, or anywhere near as much. I think more of what we do should be more about hype and less about trying to answer people's questions that they don't need to know. Right. Well, that's actually kind of my point, right? Because people continue to poke and prod because Grant is trying to be the open source type of book on what's going on with everything, but because of that, it is, things are going good for a second, and then they're not, and then they come back and they start going good for a little while, and then they're not. I mean, I haven't seen anything other than obviously the pushbacks. I haven't seen anything go backwards. Right? They give us they give us what works so we can have a little bit of fun. Right? It's a balancing act on how much info to give out. That should be Slayer, I believe, just entered.
Yes, sir. How's it going, buddy?
Morning, buddy.
Morning. 11:11. Make a wish. Peter was not wanting to fire up, but we're in there. We are in there. How's everyone doing this morning?
Good. Just covering the current chat in Discord, which is about the small percentage of Blue Mint that Blue Mint's gonna take from our gold Z-Bucks.
Oh yeah, what's going on there?
Well, they're gonna get a percent, none known, no specific number known, other than the fact that it's supposed to be low. And Blue Mint's gonna get a percentage of the rental earnings of the owners' rental earnings.
Oh yeah.
For the task of essentially being the middleman on the rental.
What was that one just above the grant thing there? Since I just saw 10%. What was that? Or just someone just talking turd?
Right. That's somebody just throwing the highest numbers that they can really think of out there instead of just letting it slide and letting it go. It is. I mean, what I was basically saying is, for me, it is what it is. I can't do anything to make it change, so I'm not going to get mad about it. Like, it doesn't make a difference in the long run until I see what my earnings are. They could take 35%, and if it's still pulling everybody $1 more a day, then it's there's no loss. In the long run. Until I see it, I can't get mad about it. It just is what it is. It's out of my hands, and this is what they feel like they need to do and how they're going to do it. So it's just one of those things that okay, yeah, it's a little bit of gold Z-Bucks out of pocket earnings. But if it needs to happen, then it needs to happen. So it is what it is. People should hold all judgment until exactly. I was saying all of this not yesterday, but the day before when we're like a lot of this stuff that we keep making. Not we as in the generalized public and what's going on, and most of the people saying things. It really is just that we can't make judgments on earnings until we see earnings. So that was one of the biggest biggest flaws was that that earnings were ever really discussed, like in any kind of actual numbers. I feel that, but if Blue Mint was going to take a cut, it should have just been laid out from the beginning. I'm fine with them getting a cut. They should have been paid for their time and their services. Right. No, I mean, like I said, I see it both ways, but it's just one of those things for me that there's no real point in blowing up about it when you can't do anything about it anyway. I mean, it's one of those things where it still comes down to the choice for me, like is this the thing that's going to push me over the line to be like, oh, nope, I'm done with the game. Or well, it is what it is. And for me, that's just one of those, it is what it is. I mean, sure, there's definitely some changes that could come through this that could make me be like, oh yeah, okay, I guess I will walk away from this game. But I've never seen anything close to any of that type of stuff. So, I mean, obviously I've walked away from other games, so I have no problem. I've walked away from people. I can walk away from a game. Along the way, other unknown outside people will be paid as they'll be needed. That's just life. Essentially, yeah, it's just business. It's moving along and getting bigger. At some point in time, the money that they start making from for people buying skins and stuff like that will be paying for marketing and will be paying for TV commercials and radio commercials and whatever commercials. Billboard advertising in Vegas, hiring more people to make more maps and gameplay, what I'm sitting here reading Grant writing about right now. Hiring more people, make more maps and gameplay, generate huge revenue for mobile. Can't be so short-sighted on everything. 1% fee to third party or whatever it is 100% loss from the treasury. 1% Wagyu fee is 100% indefinite gain back to UB. Math doesn't hold up because you're assuming we are not doing anything with the traditional time that's been freed up to generate more revenue through free-to-play, my dude. He's right on that. If it's one less person or an entire team that they don't have to hire to deal with it because they can just offset it to somebody else, they can utilize that time and that for those additional funds to do something else. Say we pay 5 to 10K for a developed system on Wagyu. It's a one-off payment for indefinite return. Yeah, but it has to be maintained after that. No, yeah, that's basically what he said. Needs consistent update. As we add weapons and features, we're offloading a big lift so we can focus more important tasks that have potential to 20x our revenue. I don't know. Like I said, it's on both sides of that one. It's on both sides of that one. Like, I mean, as usual, Grant's always doing things by the numbers. That's what he does. That's what he's worried about. So if on his professional estimation of the business side of things, he feels as though it's smarter business to outsource it, then it's smarter business to outsource it. Happy Friday. Now, of course, the way investors are looking at that is that they're not outsourcing it with company funds, though, right? They're outsourcing it with the funds of the investors. The funds, the owners. Like, I could see that angle, if that's how you want to look at it, right? Like, okay, you guys are outsourcing help. That's fine, right? Outsource help. But you're outsourcing help with the investors' earnings. Daily earnings. So if you guys want to argue it, argue at that angle. That makes more sense than just saying, oh, this doesn't make sense. Because his numbers idea does make sense. Initial people will work for love, faith, and project as everything falls in place. Let's face it, it's company. Company will want to get paid just so no one will get started out. Right. Almost everybody's got to outsource to start out. Hell, I've got fucking me and one other person in my company. So if and when I start to go into the next steps, I'm not doing it out of house, right? I'm not gonna hire 5, software engineers from all over the country and bring them to my house. So right. And that's the other thing, and it's the other conversation that we just had 2 days ago also at GamJ. It is all speculative until day one. So actually not even that. It's speculative until, only a few weeks from now when Grant said that we're going to get to test out the earnings matrix, when we get to see what the drops will look like and all that kind of thing. Earnings might be about to look like a DoorDash receipt with all the cuts taken out, especially if you're renting. You're not looking at the benefit of being on Blue Mint. We'll get a lot more eyes on UB from all their traffic with their games on the platform. DoorDash creates more DoorDashes. Well, guys, I mean, ultimately, it's all about our free-to-play model anyway. And I've been saying that for a long time, since we started the show. Ultimately, the entire game is really being built around the free-to-play model, and the play-to-earn side of it is a bonus for the people here for that. But I mean, like I said, when it all comes out, and I'm still pulling, $1, $1.50, $2, whatever the hell it is per pack, it is what it is. I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah, and did this just come up this morning? Obviously,
I didn't know anything about it last night. I did check before I went to bed last night, so it wasn't. Yeah, this is new convo from this morning. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that's why when I was saying the other week, the problem with the renting system is that people are, the renters are the ones who are going to have to take that burden because as the person investing, right? And then you can't expect someone to not get paid for doing a thing, right? So, like the Bloomint putting up the rental system is going to obviously cost. It's going to cost them having to, like, why would Bloomint do it without taking a fee? They're going to pay someone to do it, right?
Right. Well, or to at least keep them exactly the same thing that we were talking about. Like somebody has to do it on one team or another. And if they already have a team established, it's cheaper to pay the already established team that has time in their hands.
Yeah, and they're already in the position to do it, hopefully. Right, that's what it seems like, right?
Oh, yeah, they're the ones that are doing all the weapon tracking, the leaderboards. I mean, you go now, you can see exactly who won all of the last tournaments on Bloomint. It's almost all copies. It's like copies, but...
Yeah. Like Camji just said, it's funny that, some of the frustration I'll send, like, folks are mad that the first iPod can't store 2 terabyte of... Yeah, exactly. I mean...
Steam movies, right. I mean,
and nobody's done it well yet. I mean,
I really do. I understand the frustration of oh well, this is just more money going away, but we don't know how much money we're making anyway. So I mean, it's really not relative. If we were already up and running and then it got installed and added, and then they're like, oh well, we're gonna start taking, you're only making $1.10 now, and now we're gonna take 13% of it, and now you're down to 98 cents. I kind of. It would be more relative to me then, I guess, is kind of my thing. Like I do get it. I really 100%. Like I said, I already came up with the alternate argument of what would be valid on that, right? Just the fact that we're paying for the outsources and not them. But I still see why it needs.
What? Not the company.
Right. Yeah, because it's essentially the investors paying for the outsourcing.
Well, I mean, but I mean, that's the problem with business that a lot of people don't get is that, of course, it's got to come from somewhere.
Right. Well, I mean,
it comes from the bottom line. That's why you have balance sheets.
Right.
That
and I was going to say, so this is where the argument would come from, right? So to argue the other side of that. So here would be the argument, right? So people are going to be like, oh, well, it's coming. And I'm saying it as I'm thinking it myself, and I'm the one who said it, right? I'm the one who said, oh, well, they're just taking money from the investors. Well, ultimately, it's going to look like this. Okay, so they can take it in a small percentage from each playing pack, or they can go ahead and they can pay Bloomint to outsource and take it out of the overall incoming revenue, which is still the same math, because they're still taking it from the investors then anyway, because that's what the investors are going to get paid out of. So it's still the same math, right? It's just depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easier and does make a little bit more sense to take it from the playing aspect of it, because that way it's not as much. It's only from the players who are renting out packs, and it's not from the total of the income out of it's probably way cheaper to do it that way in the overall of what's getting lost from the fund, if that makes more sense.
I mean, if you're gonna have, you're gonna pay whether you pay, whether it goes to the guys at Undead Blocks team or whether it goes to the Bloomint team, it's got to go somewhere. No one's going to do it for free.
And one way or another, it has to get paid, and it's going to come out of the same fund. It just depends on how you want to see it come out of the fund. And it's probably really is, now that I mentioned it that way and working, talked my way through it, it probably actually is cheaper to just have the pack pay it at a super small percentage than it would be to have an agreed upon fee that they'll probably overpay if they did that. And then that would also come out of the same fund. So either way, it's how do we want to make this? How do we want to line this up?
Yeah. And what did crypto say? Money away from from what? It's all in the
who do you think's
mind.
gonna
And I
earn
don't
more
mind
money?
killing
Blue Mint?
zombies.
Yeah, well, I mean, Blue Mint in the long run, right? Because they're gonna get a share of every single rented, right? So I mean, in the long run, but on a daily basis, right? The owners of the packs are still gonna be the ones making more money than Blue Mint. As an individual though, because Blue Mint gets paid off of every single one of the packs, so they'll get paid off 3,000 packs every single day, as opposed to one person getting paid off of 3 packs.
But also paying for the infrastructure to do it, paying for the people to maintain the infrastructure, paying for,
I was just answering the question. No, I wasn't.
Yeah,
Like I do get it. I do understand, like, both sides on this one. Like this one here is not one that I could really even fully take a side on, because it is both sides of that. But since it just, like I said, it is what it is. I can't do shit about it anyway. I'm not going to worry about it. It's just not really any stress that I'm not too stressed out about on this one. Well, and so yes, Blue Mint will generate loads of new people in the crypto space, but don't forget, we're not trying to be in the crypto space in the long run anyway. If anything, we're actually going to take a lot of people to Blue Mint, because what's going to happen is we're going to be onboarding all these free-to-play mobile players that don't know shit about crypto, and then they're going to go to looking into Blue Mint. So I thought about that the other day too when I was just sitting around doing my stuff. Just the fact that a lot of people are kind of starting to view this a little bit backwards at this point in time. We're not really in the point now where we need to have these other larger companies to bring us in. We're at the point where as soon as our game drops and we start bringing people in on our own, we're actually be taking people to them.
Yeah, that's why I've been saying forever that the best model that could come up from a game is that you have a game, people like the game, people play the game. If at some point in time there's a possibility for that game to generate an income, or but to start off on the foot that you're going to be making money, even if you disclose all of the potential, what it's going to happen earning wise, how it's going to come out, people are still, people still got in their head that they were going to make $30 a day. Right? No matter what you tell them, no matter what it says. So
my glass is always half full. It just looks like it's half empty. I have a question regarding rentals and liability. Who or which party is responsible for stolen weapon packs and skids?
Well, you are. If you got your, if you go click on a shitty link.
You're not giving your weapon to anybody during the rental process, so therefore you are.
I mean, like you said, it's tough because both sides are understandable. Like, you're losing more of a percentage, and that's why I was saying earlier that the people who are thinking that the renter is going to get a better end of the deal are crazy. That doesn't. It never has. It never will work. That a person who has no stake in an ownership of something should have any demand. Like, it's like the rental of an apartment. You don't tell the guy what you're renting it for. He tells you, this is the price. If you want to rent it, rent it.
You'll be able to put packs out for 90-10, 90 to you and 10 to the renter, and somebody will still rent it only because there's a limited number of packs, and there's going to be multiple number of people. So it really won't matter. Whatever you want to rent it for, you'll be able to rent it for.
Yeah, and then in the long run too. I mean, you never know. There, like KG said earlier, we don't know what the final outcome is going to be. We don't know what the earnings are yet. We don't know.
10% to a renter could at some point in time wind out being still $1 plus a day. And then
or more.
The owner. Yeah, who knows? We don't know. Again, we don't know what
or less, our for that matter.
Right, exactly. We have no idea what our end metrics are going to be in 1 to 2 to 5 years. We don't know if we're going to start out with 25,000 players, 50,000 players, or 250,000 players. We don't know where we're going to be. So until we know that, we really have no idea what any of these numbers are. So even our little, it's not going to be real numbers that we can consider for our beta test that we come out, that they're going to give us the Z-Box and the box drops, simply because we're not going to have the numbers of players playing to affect the metric enough. Like we're going to get larger numbers. They're going to be inflated numbers because of less players.
Yeah.
Because the game's still going to try to give out that $1,000 a day. It's just going to realize that there's less players, so the algorithm's going to give bigger numbers.
And then, and then if there's advertising coming in, like there's so many different ways to.
So that number, whatever our test numbers are, expect them to go down. Like, be real about that, guys. Whatever these test numbers are when we start testing them, expect them to go down simply because of numbers of players. More players are playing that are play to earn, because not all 3,000 packs are going to be getting played for that testing, right? I mean, some of these guys are holding 50 packs, so I'm going to make 50 different accounts for other people to go play and test. So there's going to be a lot of inflated numbers here, and it's just don't allow it to dissuade you and piss you off when it comes out and the numbers are lower, because more people are actually on separate packs. People are sleeping on undead blocks. I think the way y'all are doing it's awesome, having 2 different currency for holders and just skins, plus it's fun. Who else has a game like this so far along at this point? No one I've heard of. I mean, that's in the long run, that's where I'm trying to get to with it, I guess. 420 Kingpin. It's just that the changes are changes, and until I see the result, I'm at this point I'm still happy with all of the changes that I have been. The game affected changes, as far as the actual gameplay, the beta play, the updates, the changes in the zombies, adding new zombies, telling us what's going on with Dr. Helper and how it's going to work and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I got to take that off. I'll do that right meow.
Yeah, and the 30-day giving one too.
Yeah. I have a credit. Cool. Yeah, you can pick up while I'm trying to figure out remember how to do this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm like I said, I do understand, because, having been in business, every time you see like another percentage getting taken, it is definitely like, oh, come on, another percentage, but we don't even know. We don't know what it's going to be. And that's why I've been saying forever that we need to get away from the idea that you're going to retire playing a video game. It's just not, it's just not what life is, right? So if you keep thinking that you're going to, then you're going to be disappointed when things change. I mean, I still plan on, I'm the same 420. I got a bunch of packs, but I want to get one more to round out my collection. And, I look at it that, like I've said a million times before, here in Canada, you could put your money into a high interest savings account, and it's 2% a year. So if you think about the fact that
that's high interest, that's horrible.
That's high interest from a bank of a country that's like the second biggest landmass in the world, has resources like you don't even believe, and you could get a whopping 2% a year.
Wow.
So if you could get $1 a day on a, let's say on a 30-day scale, that's $30.
Like 3.7 or something like that is the lowest savings interest to have. I don't know. I guess it's really not a whole lot higher, but it's still twice as much, basically. I mean,
right, and that's because the States has the petrodollar, which is the backbone of your entire system over there, right? And that's only still 3%.
Sounds like you know more about that one than me.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you guys, the whole reason that the American dollar can do what it does is because they have most of the world. Like if you go to the Middle East, like when I went to Lebanon, you pay for, and this was back in '98, you pay for your everything with American dollars. You don't pay for it with, the currency of Lebanon. I mean, sure, there's places that you do, but people, it is a coveted.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, see, I've never.
Oh yeah, dude, around the world, if you go to South America, you don't pay for things in like liras. You pay for, I mean, you do,
If you're
Right,
from there,
but-
but I mean, like
but
I've
yeah,
been
but,
told
like-
that if I go to Mexico, that I just buy anything I want for $5. Plain and simple, just give them a $5 bill and I can walk away.
Man, a $5
So-
bill over there, they're looking at you like you're from outer space.
Right.
You
I
know
mean,
what
unless it's like a TV or something, and then I give them a 20. You know, so.
Yeah, and it's so that's why what's happening right now with the States with them printing so much money is screwing you guys up, because at a certain point in time there's
you
not
devalue
enough.
yourself. Right. We're devaluing
You know,
ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, what you retire on is Undead Token at this price, and the game explodes. Come out with 3 more games. Exactly. I keep trying to remind people about this isn't the only game. We have other uses for these damn packs. Our packs are probably pretty damn close to their all-time low at this point in time. The game's not out yet. The most amount of FUD that we're probably ever going to have is happening right now. Once the first game comes out, those packs jump up a little bit in value. The second game comes out, those packs go up a lot in value. Now, of course,
well, and I mean that's the thing I've been saying forever too. Yeah, you have an asset that people, it's like when we were talking about, like being a person renting a home. Well, when as a person who owns the home and you rent it out, necessarily the value doesn't go up because you didn't, like as the person renting, you didn't go and build a new deck on the back of the house, or but by the nature of something in the world, an investment that just goes up over time, right?
Right.
So, it could come to the point in, like you said, in 2 games from now where you can't play that. Now you can't even get into that new game and think about earning unless you have it. Well, now all of a sudden you can earn through Undead Blocks. You can earn through the next game. You can earn, and there's going to be percentages there too, because guess what? If someone's got to make the new game, it's going to cost, it's going to cost more money. What did Kenji say? I still can't buy ETH on my credit card, debit card, like WT, what the F? Yeah. Well, and then, I mean, if you do buy it on your credit card, guess what happens there too? Percentage. It's like,
Right,
I
there's
just
a
find it
fee for
hilarious that at
everything,
this
yeah.
point in the world, people are surprised that somebody needs to make money to do the thing that you want them to do, right? I mean, people don't even realize. So when you use a credit, I used to sell debit machines when I was younger. So when you go to a merchant and you buy a product with your credit card, the merchant pays the 3.8% or the 2.85, whatever, if they negotiate a good rate, they get it down. I don't know what it is now. We're talking like back in like 2004 or 5, I was doing that, right?
Right.
But the merchant is the one that pays for that. So then guess what ends up happening? The merchant has to raise the price up of the product because they just have to, right?
Hold on. I got something for that one there.
MJ?
KMJ. Yeah. You are fake news.
420 said food prices have gone up in Maine like 30 to 40% in the last few months. Exactly. A loaf of bread is $7.
It's $1 per egg. $1 per egg.
And imagine $1 per egg,
$1 per egg. It
My
costs
parents used to get like 3 dozen for
more for milk now than
$3 or
gas,
whatever,
and gas
right?
is expensive. It still costs more for milk than gas.
Yeah, and then what they do is the government taxes the guy who's got the cows because the government's got to make their piece off of it, and I don't agree with it, but it is part of what it is, right?
Well, the United States originally, and actually the Republicans just proposed something about it too, about dropping personal income tax, because the way that the United States was written is actually that we weren't supposed to have an income tax. The companies are supposed to pay taxes, the majority of taxes. If you own a company, the company pays the majority of the taxes in the United States. That's how we're supposed to be set up.
Yeah,
It's
but even that,
obviously
I mean, that's
far
still just a
apart
way
from
of
that now,
saying
but-
you don't think you paid for it, right? I mean,
Right. Yeah, because the company
that's
ends
why the
up
price
getting
of
it
eggs
from.
went up.
Exactly. That's why, or when somebody goes and steals, $6,000 worth of shit at Walmart, all of a sudden prices of everything goes up. It's And I'm just throwing out a number. I know that's nothing to Walmart. But
Yeah, of course. It's just it's like
Yeah.
a thing. So you
just
can have
as
a
a
picture
point,
of it.
like
But yeah,
you know, money lost has to go somewhere. Money coming has to go somewhere. It's just all part of business. And like I said, I'm not. This is just one of those. It is what it is moments for me. Like I could get upset about it if I wanted to sit here and get upset about it because yes, it is another percentage of it. But then when you in the long run, when you think about it, some way, shape, or form, it would have to get paid from somewhere, whether it was paying people in house or paying people out of house or however they wanted to do it. And if my opinion is, from what I've learned of Grant, from speaking to him both, in and out of spaces and in person and personal phone calls and stuff like that, I fully believe that any financial decisions he make are definitely in the best benefit of both the company and the game, which is therefore for the players. So.
yeah. And I mean, the way that they, it's like I keep saying it. What companies need to do as a game, as anything, is say that this is what you do. Here's our game, Undead Blocks. Do you like it? Yes. Okay, great. Oh, bonus, check this out. You got some money in your account at some point. Like when I was playing the EV.io tournament the other day, yes, there's a tournament going on. Yes, I could earn money from it. Yes, I'll da-da-da-da-da. Well, I don't even know what I've gotten yet because it hasn't been paid out, And I didn't not play the tournament because I didn't know what I was getting. I just played the tournament thinking, hey, if I get the chance to earn anything for playing this game for a few hours, it's still pretty great. And what would be better served is if Undead Blocks just said, we don't know what the earnings are going to be, therefore we're not going to tell you anything about it, and then nobody could cry about the fact that they didn't get what they were told that they might get.
Right, and that's what I was basically saying from the long run, that we were too outwardly transparent, right? We
Exactly.
wanted to answer everything to make people happy, but then the problem with that is that answering the questions as we knew them at the time, nobody knew that they might have to change down the road. Like not even Grant.
I mean, ETH was $4,000
Right,
at the time when I
exactly.
got into the Undead Blocks.
So
I mean,
the
ETH is now,
openness and
12?
then the forced pivots, it kind of exactly. You tell them nothing, you know nothing, Jon Snow. 1,000%. I mean, I'm even with my wife at this point, like in the 6th year that we've been married at this point, I've gotten to the point now where there's some things where I tell her outright, I'm like, I'm not going to talk to you about that because you're gonna have too many questions, and if it doesn't follow through, then you're just gonna feel like her she'll be so intent that her memory will be, well, you told me this. I'm like, no, I told you this might happen. So and I straight out tell her now. I'm like, so now I'm like, I'm not going to talk to you about that because you're going to take it as
As
it's
gospel.
right? It's written
Yeah.
in stone, and I don't want that to happen. So yeah, it's actually eliminated arguments in my life. I know for a fact. So. Like Cloud says, we moved to crypto for companies to be more transparent because of all the shady shit regular. Right, that's just as far and you can sit there and follow their crypto trail and see that they're not really moving their crypto around. I mean, Grant makes less of a salary than I would pay myself if my company had the income to pay myself.
Yeah, but the beauty of it, though, is, too, like exactly what Like Cloud just said. The beauty of that, though, is that you could see that the treasury of Undead Blocks, if it was in ETH, has gone down 75%
in value
because
right.
ETH has gone down 75%. So, it's like, well, you still have 4,700 ETH. Like, yeah, but 4,700 ETH today is worth, $4 million, where 4,700 ETH 6 months ago was worth $16 million.
Exactly.
So it's a definite, it is the beauty of, of the crypto thing, because you can see both good and bad in there, right?
Yep. And it can happen just as quick either way. I mean, ETH, crypto, however you want to work at it, could all bounce back. Right? It's not dead. We're just in the, everything is in a winter right now, not just crypto. The world is in a winter right now.
I mean, Canada's in winter right now. I got friggin'
I
half full of snow
was
last
like,
night.
even in real life. But, ultimately, all of the markets are in their winters right now. Like, even if there has been a small bounce back over the last week or two, it's still, a 20% up in the last week or two is still 95% down. So, it's where it was. And that's what we're waiting on. That's what the entire world is waiting on.
I mean, if we want to get right down to it, stuff like that happens in the market on a daily basis, like puts and I forget all the different names for them. All of those are you're making money by people losing money.
Oh man,
Does that
420
sound like that makes any sense? Huh?
I said 420s to make me read. I mean, it doesn't, but it does if you understand the market because of people playing shorts and making good money on shorts. But
that's what I'm saying. A short in the definition of it is completely ridiculous. Like
the fact that you can
said
make money.
This is going to drop, and it does drop, and somehow you pulled money out
you
of
get
that.
paid off of it, right? Yeah, I know. It
doesn't make any sense. Like, how did you make money off of people losing money? Wouldn't that sound like loss of more money than? And the only way that exists is because you have a system that it's not. It's like people are like, money's not real. Like, money hasn't been real in 50 years. The minute you started putting money on computer screens, and you can just add a zero here and there, or take away a zero, or put a comma in, like that doesn't mean that money was instituted. It means that money, someone just added a zero.
Oh man, I missed a lot of chats. Holy cow. Okay.
F is for friends who
Thank you for the follow housing.
U is for you and me.
Let's see. The reason why it's going to break is greed. Instead of taking the margin increase out of their profits, it rolls downhill. It's double salary. Then I did 8 years, and I started, but because of taxes and inflation, I barely make $400 now. Minimum wage increase the same rate as inflation. It would be over $20 an hour. I'm stoned, but it's true. Okay.
Yeah, but the problem with that too, again, is like, okay, here, just take that and extrapolate it out. The guy who's paying you $10 an hour right now, tomorrow pays you $20 an hour. What happened? You're making double that you did today, but that piece of bread or that carton of eggs is still being charged at the same price it was yesterday. How is that possible? Impossible. You can't have a minimum wage. You can't, like, minimum wage to me as a guy who's owned a business for 20 plus years is the most ridiculous thing. Why do I have to pay you a certain amount of money just because you're alive? It's like
yeah, but that's more of a tax thing, because especially like United States where you pay 40% of your fucking income in taxes off the top. So it's more of a way to make sure that there's a minimum amount that people are still going to make after they take their fucking taxes away. That's more of the real reason for it.
But it's not, though, because I mean, that's the reason that it's on paper that they say. But at the end of the day, if you make a business pay someone more money for the same thing, that the business only makes money by selling you eggs, well, where is that price going to land on? It's going to land on the price of eggs, right?
Right, exactly. It's going to land on the purchaser, on the purchasing. Yeah.
Which means that so you got your $20 an hour, yay, but your $20 an hour is like $7.50 before when it was $10. I'd rather have the $10 an hour, and let's keep the eggs at the price that they were, right? I mean, what's really happening is you get governments that just have people who've never even. They don't even know how to tie their shoes, and yet they're like, well, we're going to give away this amount of money, that amount of money. We're going to do these programs. Like, it was like, who were we talking to a month ago that said, they love the Canadian healthcare system, until I told them that, yeah, and then to go get a simple procedure in Canada, you might wait 3 years for it. I mean, is that a good... Like, to me, that's garbage. I'd rather, know I got to pay 20 grand and I got to come up with the 20 grand, as shitty as that is. Then now also in Canada, you got a $30 procedure that someone charges you $500 because they're charging the government, right?
Right.
Did they say? I mean, we'll go back to bring it all back to Undead Blocks. Did they say what the amount is to Blue Mint, or they're just?
Oh, no.
There's no number
that's the other
yet.
thing, exactly. There's no number, and Grant said that it would be extremely low. Somebody asked if it would be under 1%, and he said no. Somebody else mentioned 10%, and he said not that high. It could. My guess is going to be like somewhere between that 2.5 to 5%.
Like 2 and 5, yeah. Yeah. Like, and that's why I brought up the credit card thing, because people don't even realize that a credit card company charges
3% per transaction.
3% per transaction that you don't even ever see because
it's built into it.
So
I'll run this back to the rental system in Splinterlands again. It's the exact same way. They take a 5% fee on all rentals. And that is built in the game. So the only way that I could see, if they wanted to take the time, which would push back development again, if you want to be honest about it, right? We wouldn't get the game if you wanted to make them force them to have to put it into the game and not pay somebody else to do the work for us. Because then they have to build the team and build it into the game before release, because they promised it to be ready for release. So they would have to push back the game yet again to be able to institute all of these things that we want as far as the rental to go through them and not have to pay fees. The good thing about that is, yes, the fees that were, because the fees would still get paid. That's the reality of it. You would still
That's what I mean, exactly.
You would still pay the rental fee. The only difference is it would go back into the coffers of the game for your rental fee. Like, they would just keep it as the game's, you know, earning. And then it would either go back into whatever they're using to pay their team for it, or however it would go. So either one way, you're right. I mean, you're exactly right. One way or another, somebody was going to pay a fee for the essentially rental fee. It's not a fee for a transaction. I mean, they haven't lied to us in that way. It's still not a transaction fee. It's not any other kind of fee. It's just a rental fee. It's I don't even know how. If I pull up my Splinterlands now, I can figure out exactly what it's called, because they have it too. Like I said. And they might actually just call it a rental fee. Oh, it's it's just a marketplace fee. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's just a.
It's the same thing. They actually have the same thing. If you buy a card from somebody else, you pay that same 5% because you use their marketplace to buy the card.
Well, yeah. Well, so why me? It's funny because when I was first doing, work with companies and watching their mints happen, I'd watch someone buy something for, like, let's say 0.1, and then they would turn around and sell it for 0.11, which that's not the best example, but they do it for 1.1, and then thinking that they've made money, and I'm like, you guys know you paid a 10% fee on that 1.1, so you actually need to sell it for 1.2 to make
exactly
even a pinch of profit, right?
Yeah. And then don't forget that there's there's usually a fee taken out of that. So
yeah,
you actually have to add another 2 or 3% to actually cover the next fee that you're going to lose on the transaction.
Exactly.
So, because they actually take like OpenSea catches them both ways. They catch it from the seller and the buyer.
Yeah.
That was just why me. That was So Blue Mint is going to be handling the rentals, and they're going to get a small percentage fee on the transaction of the rentals. And I was just what was it? Being facetious about if we did it ourselves. A lot agreed. We're a big corporation. You take a hot off of increasing wagers or profits and increasing the cost of goods. Basically cancel itself out, and the corporations still stuff their pockets. People like us basically end up in the same position as if the wage increase never happened. It's what's driving inflation. Instead of increasing wages, the cost of... I mean, I just drove past my... all of our local McDonald's are starting at like $15, $16 an hour.
Yeah, but then again, then you go and you buy yourself a Big Mac meal, and guess what's going to happen? The Big Mac meal is going to go up by 62 cents, and they're going to make the cup size smaller, and they're going to make the burger smaller. It's called stagflation. They go and your thing gets smaller, they charge you more, and you get less. So then at the end of the day,
why me? Because...
And the problem is that the biggest problem is when you involve things like government into something, there's no way it's going to go down again ever. It's not the cost of eggs isn't going to go down, for forever.
Why me? That's it. The argument from Grant on that, he wants to know why don't they just have different pools to rent from? Just do it like Spider Tanks, all in-house, and the packs are constantly used. Because the argument's still the same. They would have to push back development and release of the game in order to develop and put that into the game, and then have a team in-house to keep that constantly monitored and constantly updated and constantly blah 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 blah, where they can just outsource somebody to do it for us, and then the game gets to be on time, and then they can utilize the saved money by not having people in-house and on staff to put into the game development on the side of things that they specialize in, that they do, right? So which is making the game at this point. For a Web3 game and everything needs to be involved, you're basically saying that they need to have a cryptocurrency team to manage their that side of it. They need to have, of course, a game development team, right? They need to have a PR team. They need to have a marketing team. They need to have this. They need to have that. They need to, right? There's 30, 40, 50 different teams If we're going to keep trying to put this game on the same pedestal as like Call of Duty or something like that, we're just not that, right? We're a lot smaller, so that means we have to find other companies to do what we can't. And that's where we're at. We can't do this, so Blue Mint is, and sadly that means that we're going to have to pay a fee for it. That's really where I'm getting to be on this. And I understand it. Like I think that's really kind of the reason why I'm not mad about it. Like I get it. It just kind of is what it is. Probably said that 30 times today. Doesn't Mickey D's make most of their money by renting property to franchise owners? It depends on how much money they have to buy in. So if you want to completely own your franchise, I've actually looked this up, and now the numbers might have changed, but when I looked it up like 10 or 15 years ago, it cost $1 million to buy into a McDonald's, and to even have the chance, you would have to have the revenue showing at least 20,000 cars per day going past the spot that you want to build. And if you want to completely own it. Now they do have, you can buy in for like $100,000, and then they own the location, and you just rent it, and you know, there's some weirdness to that kind of stuff, but no, it shouldn't affect the people who want to play it for free at all, actually. The only people that this affects are the owners, and even just the individual owners. So this one actually affects all owners, not just the you know, the arms dealers. Like even just the little guy. You know, let's say they did want to give 25% for some reason, which this is throwing fucking crazy numbers out. It's not real, okay? But if they did, then yes, like the even just the little single one guy owner is going to be big time affected by that. Like no matter what the daily numbers are, because imagine if it is $20 a day, then you're giving up, you know, $5 a day.
Well, no, but that's the thing and that's what I was saying the other week. What'll end up happening is that the person who gets the pack will just say, like, let's use a round number, 10%. So you have your pack, you were going to rent it for 50-50.
Mm-hmm. Now
you find out Blue Mint is going to take 10%. Guess what's going to happen? The person who's renting the pack is going to say, okay, 60-40. And actually, what I would do is I'd say 65-35,
right, well, but the thing is, they're taking their 10%
I need to make sure
off the top,
that when that comes again,
I'm just saying they're taking their 10% off the top. So it's I'm just adding it to the. I'm not talking about the split side of it. I'm talking about just the overall earnings of the pack itself. Like I'm not worried about who's getting. But that
is the overall earnings of the pack.
You're right.
You have to take that 10% into account.
But I'm talking about if person earns one pack, they're not renting that pack out. That's for them. That's in their pocket.
Well, then there would be no rental fee. How would there be a rental fee if you're not renting it?
Oh, yeah, good point.
If you own a pack and you play the pack, you get 100%
I was just saying, no, valid point. I was just being stupid. That's 100. Yeah, see, that's why we talk out loud. I was literally just thinking that just for playing the pack, you were going to pay 5% or 10. You know what I mean? Whatever the cost.
Yeah, no, exactly.
No. You'd have to rent it out. Yeah, no. See, yeah, now, see, you're right. You're on that one.
But yeah, no, why me? You'd never be losing money. How could you? Because if you're a smart businessman, you're just going to say, or business woman, whatever, business alien, you're going to say, if Blue Mint takes 10%, I cannot rent it to you for, like, that's what I was saying before about, like, as a homeowner, renter person. So if you buy a house and the mortgage last year was $1,000 a month, you can rent that property for, let's say, $1,500 a month. If you sell that home to somebody else and the person that buys its mortgage is now $2,000 a month, what do you think is going to happen to the rental cost of that property?
That rent's going to be $2,750.
It's going to be $2,000 or $800 because they're going to have to take in the fact that their mortgage is $2,000. The taxes didn't go anywhere. In fact, the taxes probably went up because the value, the quote unquote value of the property went up. So then the local government says, well, your property is now $200,000. We need our cut, which is their 5% or whatever they charge in the city that you live in. And then, and guess what? The infrastructure cost went up for running water to the house. The cost of electricity went up. The cost of, heating oil went up. Everything's going to come up, right? Mm-hmm. It just has to. I don't think the fee is flat. It sounds, well, we don't even know. It sounded like from what I came into that it's going to be a percentage. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a percentage of what's earned on the rental. It seems like. Now, yeah, it'd have to be because there would be no. I mean, what are they gonna make you pay the fee up front before you even rent a pack out? So no, it's gonna be a percentage of the contract.
yeah, I mean, it's like anything else as a percentage. Your credit card, you go in,
Yeah.
it's 3.2% on $1 or $1,000. It doesn't matter. It's still 3.2%. You know, and then it's like people think like when they get people don't even know this one. So you know when you go to the bank and they're like, "Hey, do you want this bank card that gives you points when you purchase?" People are like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm like that." I'm like, "Yeah, shit, I love points when I purchase." Well, guess what? If a company is giving you money back, where do you think that money came from?
Yep.
It came as a percentage of, you know,
It's really just kind of their way of profit sharing on what you're already giving them anyway. It's their Ponzi scheme. You could even look at it like that. It's kind of their
yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme.
It's literally, okay, here, you give us extra money now and we'll give it back to you later because that's how we can get other people involved. So it's kind of...
These people are so ridiculous. In the beginning, it was never $30 a day.
Yeah, I don't remember ever reading that at any point. Hearing was 10 of a potential, and not that it was real. Like just, oh well, you might be able to earn, you know what I mean? Like it was a big most is $10 a day. Like it would be. This is what we would like to see is $10 a day. But I don't ever remember them even promising that. Like I just remember them saying this is just this is potential, but no, I do very directly remember hearing a minimum of one on a played pack. If it was actually played, not just played one game, but on like an actual played pack, that it would earn at least $1 a day. I just heard my... Oh, there it is. Those are the numbers that I remember, real numbers that I remember hearing Grant and some other people talking about.
Well, they did say, yeah, a minimum of $1 per day. Yeah, but I mean, people are just so ridiculous that they say $30 a day. $30 a day times
3,000
3,000 people is $9,000, which means that how can you play first 1,000, second 500, third 250, and still expect that you're going to get $30 a day?
I think they
and
said
then the
they're
guy
getting
who
rid of
gets
those.
fourth place says to himself, well, why would I even try to make an effort if I'm going to make $1, you know?
Right. Well, I think they got rid of the tournament
Right?
structure.
No, that was daily earnings was the daily earnings was $10,000. First place gets 1,000, second place gets 5, third gets 250. That was what the structure of payments was, which means there's 8,250 left over, right?
Right.
Which means that 8,250 even divided out by, if you had, and what people are even more crazy about is the original mint was 10,000 items, which means at the very best, if everybody got an equal split, you would have got $1 a day.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The other thing that I know, they will remember anyway, is that he has not turned off, but they're not going to do the daily tournaments anymore. It's gonna be, I mean, we'll have like our daily leaderboards and stuff like that, but it's not going to be. I don't think they're doing the $1,000 a day to the leader anymore, because they just don't want the same person every day. Yeah, they think that'll detract away from the players, which is right. Like if it's the same 5 people every single day, it just takes away from everybody else actually wanting to do anything. So I do think that they took that away from last I heard. They have other ways of making sure that it's a more even spread across profitability for everybody. As far as the availability of earning, anyway, it'll be more grind based, versus skill based. I guess is probably a better way to put it.
That's where I keep saying it. I said it like 12 times today. But at the end of the day, the way that games are going to get around this is they're going to stop saying you're going to make money for playing.
Yep. You're just going to play a game and see it.
You're just going to play a game. It's going to be good.
Yep.
And then you're going to be happy that you... I played that EV.io competition last week. And, you know, when I cashed in my 2000E or whatever it's called, you know, that 2000E became 0.008 of a soul or whatever it was, or 0.08 of a soul, whatever it was, which is, basically nothing, right?
Right.
But it was still, did I have fun? Yeah. Did I meet some cool new people? Yeah. It's, games are going to have to stop saying, you're going to make money playing our game, and they're going to have to start saying, play the game, have fun, and then some point in time, if there's earnings, you could earn something, right?
Well, just even stop saying about the earn, right? Because, I mean, like I said, for me, in my opinion, and like I always said before I even owned packs and was able to earn $1 a day, the earnings for me is being able to get the green standard Z-Bucks and buy loot coffins that I have the chance of selling for $10, $15, $30, $100, you know what I mean? Or whatever, and own for as long as I have. And I owned them, and I didn't have to put any money out of my pocket to get them. So, and to me, that's still earning. Right? Because I own
Well,
that.
I mean, for sure it's still earning, yeah.
Or
but again, those have to come
not
from somewhere.
Right. Well, exactly. And the intent is that comes from the free-to-play players that are just dumping their money into buying skins and coffins all the time. Because that will happen. That's what people do.
Yeah. And yeah, Kenji, it is a circle that looks like a pyramid. But I mean, at the end of the day, everything's a pyramid. McDonald's is a pyramid. McDonald's is a person buys
Capitalism is
a
a pyramid.
package of meat.
I mean,
and turns around, puts that meat in a bun, puts some lettuce on the bun, and sells it to you for a bit more money. And then from that money, they pay the person who's working there. They pay the taxes, they pay the property, they pay the electricity, they pay the water, they pay the everything, right? And at the end of the day, they got to buy more meat to sell more burgers, to get more money, to pay for more water, to pay for more electricity, to pay for more fry oil, I mean, life is literally a circle where you start off dead and then you end up dead again, and